Welcome back to another episode of Tech Headlines Today. This is episode 42. If you want more info on a topic that we cover, check out the show links in the description. Subscribe or follow if you haven't yet, and let's get into it. With Microsoft Direct Storage, game load times dipped to 2 seconds or less. How good is Microsoft's Direct Storage at reducing PC game load times? For one game, the technology cut load times to around 2 seconds or less. At the Game Developers Conference on Wednesday, the studio behind the upcoming action RPG title Forspoken demoed its game running Microsoft's Direct Storage technology. The benchmarks show Direct Storage can load event cutscenes in 1.9 or 2.2 seconds over a PC's NVMe SSD storage drive. Playable levels will load up in 1.7 or 1.9 seconds. By using Direct Storage with M2 SSD, you can start playing almost with no loading time, said Teppei Ono, technical director for Luminous Productions, the developer of Forspoken. That said, it's not exactly a huge improvement over existing storage APIs if your PC already has an NVMe SSD or SATA SSD drive. Direct Storage only shaved load times by a few deciseconds when compared against a standard Win32 API. Direct Storage works by fully leveraging the faster speeds from NVMe SSD drives to streamline the data processing for the game. Existing storage APIs require the game data requests to be individually processed one by one. Direct Storage, on the other hand, allows you to use multiple queues, enabling loading and decompression to be executed in parallel, said Ono. While Direct Storage doesn't fully eliminate the load times, Ono noted the technology is still a work in progress. Future versions will be able to accelerate the load times even more by storing the game's GPU data on the graphics card's memory without going through any CPU processes. U.S. unveils charges against 4 Russian officials over hacking campaigns. The U.S. unveiled criminal charges against 4 Russian government officials for hacking into the computer systems of a foreign refinery between 2012 and 2018. In a second unsealed indictment from August 2021, the Justice Department said 3 other alleged hackers from the Russian Federal Security Service carried out cyber attacks on the computer networks of oil and gas firms, nuclear power plants, and utility and power transmission companies across the world between 2012 and 2017. The Justice Department found the 2 cases 2 days after President Biden warned of more potential Russian cyber attacks in the future. The announcement of the indictment by the Justice Department is a warning to Russian hackers who might be poised to carry out destructive attacks against U.S. critical infrastructure. Apple set to pay $14.8 million in refunds to iCloud subscribers. Some iCloud subscribers are going to receive a refund from Apple after the company decided to settle a class action lawsuit for $14.8 million. As Macworld reports, the lawsuit was in response to Apple supposedly breaching the iCloud terms and conditions by storing iCloud user data on third-party servers. Apple denies it did anything wrong or breached the contract, but has decided to settle anyway. Whether you are eligible for a refund depends on how long you've been a subscriber. Anyone who paid for an iCloud subscription between September 16, 2015 and January 31, 2016, and had a U.S. mailing address associated with their iCloud account will be receiving a refund. One exception to that is if the email address you signed up to iCloud with during that time is no longer active, because you won't receive the notice confirming you are a class member. How much of a refund will be received depends on how long you are subscribed for during the period mentioned above, as well as which subscription tier you had. Full details of the class action, as well as what to expect if you are a class member, can be found on the Williams v. Apple Inc. lawsuit website. Indian police bust online helicopter scam. Cyber police in India have broken up a cyber criminal operation selling fake helicopter rides to pilgrims via fraudulent websites. The scam targeted pilgrims traveling to and from the Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine, which is in the Trikuta Hills, 63 kilometers from Jammu city. On Friday, the law enforcement officers from Rajasthan Police and Jammu Police Cyber Cell arrested 4 alleged members of the gang they believe is responsible for the deception. One of the suspects is believed to be the gang's leader. An investigation was launched after the police received complaints from the Shrine Board and from helicopter flight company Global Vectra that online fraudsters were duping pilgrims. Investigators found approximately 40 fake websites hosted by the platform GoDaddy promising helicopter rides to the shrine. Analysis of the site's IP addresses and domain registration details enabled the police to trace the suspected fraudsters to Koda. Radio transmitting devices located with pinpoint accuracy with new technique. A new device is being developed that enables real-time signal processing and can be used to quickly locate objects transmitting a radio signal. Known as an analog photonic correlator, the device is considerably simpler than equivalent devices existing today, the researchers said. The photonic architecture we developed uses no moving parts and enables real-time signal processing, said a researcher. Real-time processing helps ensure there isn't any downtime, which is critical for defense applications, for example. It is used to calculate relative delay of two signals emitted from one source and detected by two antennas. The researchers were able to demonstrate localization of a radio frequency transmitter with a precision close to 10 picoseconds for a 100 millisecond integration time. This means that the system could locate an emitter with a precision of about 3 millimeters. Uber will list New York City taxis to combat driver shortage and high fares. Uber joined the cab service in New York City and will list all New York City taxis on its app. Our partnerships with the taxi industry look different around the world as we look at the next 5 years. We strongly believe that there is no world in which taxis and Uber exist separately, Uber spokesperson Connor Ferguson told TechCrunch via email. There's just too much to gain for both sides. Taxis help us unlock new markets. In fact, it's now our primary product in places like Hong Kong and Turkey. Uber has partnered with the New York City Taxi and Limousine Commission to integrate its software into New York City taxis, offer the same price as UberX, and pay drivers the same rate as standard Uber drivers. Russia's invasion of Ukraine destroys retro computer museum. The escalating war in Ukraine has destroyed a museum devoted to retro computers. Earlier this week, the owner of the Club 8-Bit Museum in Mariupol, Ukraine, reported the tragic news on their Facebook page. That's it. The Mariupol Computer Museum is no longer there, wrote Dmitry Cherepanov. All that is left from my collection that I've been collecting for 15 years is just fragments of memories on that Facebook page, website, and radio station of the museum, he added. Founded in 2003, the Club 8-Bit Museum contained a collection of over 120 retro computers, many of them ZX Spectrum systems, which were popular in Ukraine and Russia during the 1980s. Gizmodo documented the museum 2 years ago in a video, which shows that Club 8-Bit also had an extensive collection of retro keyboards and video gaming systems. The museum also had an Apple II computer, Compaq Portable 3, Atari 400, and many Soviet-era computers from the 1980s and 1990s. In total, more than 500 exhibits of the IT sphere from the 1950s to the early 2000s were located at the museum, according to Club 8-Bit's website. 4 everyday hacks to prevent identity theft. Since the start of the pandemic, cybercrime has surged, from ransomware attacks to social engineering. Identity theft can have disastrous financial and even legal consequences. Here are 4 things you can do in your everyday life to step up your cybersecurity and lock out identity thieves. First, secure all of your accounts. Use complex passwords and enable multi-factor authentication where available. Second, check your accounts for existing security breaches. There are several ways to do this. One is to use online services such as haveibeenpwned.com, which check if any of your accounts were involved in known data breaches. Third, be vigilant towards phishing attacks. Clicking on a wrong link or opening a dubious email attachment throws your virtual doors wide open for identity thieves. In 2022, phishing attacks were often highly sophisticated. They are personalized and can use any type of channel, from email and messaging services to social media. Fourth, set your public social media pages to private. Even if you're not sharing anything that could get you into trouble with friends, acquaintances, or workmates, publicly visible social media profiles provide a wealth of information to cybercriminals. Identity thieves are always lurking around the corner. That's why it's crucial to stay alert and incorporate security practices into your everyday life. Following the steps above should help to keep your identity safe. Google spots North Korean hackers using Chrome browser exploit on U.S. targets. Earlier this year, North Korean hackers were using a critical vulnerability in the Chrome browser to target victims in the U.S., according to Google. On Thursday, the company provided more details about the vulnerability CVE 2022-0609, which was patched in Chrome last month. At the time, Google offered little details about the high-severity flaw, but it warned it was being exploited. The company now says the vulnerability was able to trigger remote code execution on the Chrome browser, which hackers likely used to load malware onto a computer. 2 North Korean groups tried to hack over 85 users in the cryptocurrency and fintech industries using iframes to trigger the vulnerability in Chrome. The good news is that Google patched this vulnerability on February 14th, 4 days after discovering it. NvidiaGTC, building the digital U. In the not too distant future, we could all be running around in multiple places as digital avatars. In the future, metaverses are like web pages, but instead of text, you get to see a photorealistic avatar of the site owner. The rise of avatars brings up a number of issues, including how to protect your employees' confidential information and secure your personal information from the companies you work for. When you die, your avatar could remain and provide income for your heirs and help to make virtual non-player characters more realistic. For more details on these digital versions of you, check out the article via our show links. Thank you for joining us for this episode of THT. Share us with your friends, they might like us too. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on Monday.